All right, so today we're going to review some concepts that we learned within the expressions and number properties unit. So when we're talking about expressions, it is just a math phrase. They contain numbers, operations, and sometimes letters and variables, but what they don't have is an equal sign. So if you're looking for an expression, one of the dead giveaways is if you see something with an equal sign, that is absolutely not an expression. That's what we call an equation, and we'll be looking at those a little bit more in depth in later topics. But again, if you see an equal sign, that is not an expression. So the only one here that would be 3x minus 8. And again, it contains numbers, operations, and sometimes variables. So we looked at two different types specifically, numerical expressions. Numerical should kind of hopefully look like the word numbers. So that means we are looking for, again, a math phrase that only has numbers. So equal sign, that's variables, not allowed in numerical expressions. And again, if we ever see an equal sign, that's definitely not an expression. So B would be the correct answer for an example of this. Algebraic. So once you get into algebra, you start dealing with letters. So looking below, the only one that has a letter there, a variable x, is 2x minus 7. So that would be an example of an algebraic expression. We also looked at writing expressions, and we had a keywords chart that we referenced a lot. It looked like this, and we had different phrases that should kind of key you into different operations. Specifically, the ones that are highlighted, we had a trick with. The yellow ones meant we switched the order because they showed a relationship, specific order of relationships. We looked at green words that implied a number and operation, like twice means two in multiplication. And then we've looked at blue words. Those are kind of total phrases, which means that we need to add parentheses into our expressions. So taking a look at that, which is the correct expression for the math phrase, the difference of 9 and x. So here's my operational word. Here are my terms, 9 and x. All of those contain a 9 and x. So we're looking down to difference. What does that mean? You might remember, you might not, but difference means to subtract. So we would know that we're looking for a subtraction problem. Given our options, B would be what you're looking for. Oh, all right, so we talked about there are wording options that require you to flip the order in which you write your terms. So those were our yellow terms. So I give you some options. Can you identify it? And you're going to be able to use this keyword chart. So looking over those yellow terms, more than is the option that would have to switch the order of your terms. Usually it's words with more or than and from. All right. There are also keywords that again use signal parentheses. Which of one of these would require you to use parentheses? So again, we're looking at our keywords divided, times, divided, added, quotient, and minus. So of those keywords, again, I'll see if I can hopefully show you both at the same time. So our first one is divided in times. Divided is a just standard word, no highlighting. Times is also a standard word, so that would not be it. Divided, we already know for option B there, and added. If I look at my addition column, added to is just a white term. So again, nothing fancy there. And the last one, quotient and minus. If I bring up my keyword chart there, quotient, oh, that is blue. So if you look at the key down below, if you forget, it does imply operation, but parentheses, I need to have a parenthesis around it. So it's asking me which one require parentheses, so that would be C. Again, those keywords should help clue you into if you need something special. All right, here we are. Correct expression for the following scenario. Reese is 3 years older than Riley. So we're looking at the two parts of my phrasing here is I have the term 3 and I have a variable that's established in R. So looking below, those two options have a 3 and an R. C has too many terms, so that would not be it. If you notice in A and B, the difference is the order. So if I look at my keyword there, order is determined by older than. Older than, here's that special kind of connecting word. Anything with than does typically refer to something that has flipped construction. So you would be looking at r plus 3. All right, we also looked at simplifying expressions. So there's two main types. First, if you have all numerical numbers, all numbers, again, here's that term numerical, which means numbers. So if we have all numbers and we're asked to simplify, you can grab your calculator and plug it in from left to right. So 3 squared plus 27 minus 12, if you put that in your calculator, you should end up with the answer of 24. All right, number 10, are the following equivalent expressions creating a true statement? So when you see the word equivalent expression, again, we always talk about how vocabulary also gives you direction for the problem, what to do. So equivalent expressions means equal. And again, expressions are those phrases. So how do we do that? We need to determine what is this side simplify down into and what is this side simplify down into. So grab your calculator. If we do the operations from left to right, 10 divided by 2 plus 8 minus 3, you're going to find the answer of 10. So this expression on the left is equal to 10. Same thing, equal amount. So if we go ahead and calculate on the right, left to right, exactly how you see it, using those parentheses, 20 divided by the quantity, 12 minus 8 plus 5, is actually also going to give you 10. So if I looked at my simplified answers, 10 and 10, does 10 equal 10? It does in fact create a true statement. So your answer is yes for this one. All right, so going back to the start, we've covered exactly half of the concepts and question types in review for the Unit 2 test. So we're going to review the next 10 for part 2. And at the end, I'll be posting all of the problems with their answers for you to have.